InShalla and Ashe. Blessings to you, my energetic beings. Our mental muddle is clearing. Incarnations of our programming are really being recalibrated, just cleansed and reconciled. Inner peace is a thread away. So anything less than elevating isn't loving to the self. Now, is it or is it? And it's January 25th. What a magical day. It's the talent of a Tuesday, if you will. So welcome to today's daily snippet. I, again, am your host, a practicing holistic shamedium, and also a subtle energetic surgeon. I see it as merging the indigenous technologies, the spirit of Africa, with the subtle energies and elements and elemental beings, the realm that is elemental, the imaginal, and so much more. Absolutely, of course it is. Offering rituals and prescriptions to add all the juice into your own personal container. My true intention is really to merge these indigenous technologies with these subtle realms to assist you into navigating your prime directive, just reintroducing you to and through the being that authentically resides within you. My name is Tanya D, and welcome to my virtual medicine room. If you're interested in a card for your day, simply like, comment, and more importantly, share my show. Helping me also helps you. It's a give and a take, right? What we receive. So with the energy of the day, it feels a little bit like what is called a genie, a djinn, or jinn. It's linear like Spock on Star Trek, Spark on Star Trek. So just going otherworldly. The seers are in the stars or the cosmic waves. The star seeds, the beings from the stars. In my Voices of the Otherworld immersion, the stars, the otherworldly beings, stars, star grid, they come actually at the last week in my corridor, but we have the stars online, or the seers. So this is the Two of Pentacles, doing a dance, duality. It's like what's mirrored from one side and into the other. Kind of reminds me of somebody I know. But with all of the roles and the responsibilities that we're juggling, are we feeling unbalanced? Maybe we're a little overly busy, feeling stressed with an overbooked calendar, or stretching ourselves out in so many directions. We might be feeling the need to better balance these dualities in our physical and our otherworldly life. The me time versus the us time, the mental versus the spiritual, or I would say probably the physical versus the spiritual. So just make sure that you aren't investing too much in one area at the expense of another, especially when they are mutually just as important, right? So this is kind of a suggestion that we have the ability to actually do the juggling. However, do we really desire the juggle? So it's a message to take the time and the space to create balance in our energy, the precious core of our essence, into love, into something we absolutely love, one that will really allow us time to play, time to work, time to love, time to absolutely create, and the space for everything else in between. So our energy reserves will not be depleted, but actually will be added to that energy. So it's a message to create a balance or an equilibrium in our lives that really allows us to be our best self, our higher self. And look at this beautiful card. They're all beautiful, really. They're all magical. And next we have the star, which is absolutely otherworldly today, just sinking into the dreamlike inspiration of being a star, sending us a message of divine timing, renewed hope. So she's guiding us to reach for the string of serendipity and also the string of faith, that our future is increasingly bright and getting brighter. We really are blessed by the galactic universe, Goddess herself. And our core purpose is beginning to kind of bubble at the surface of reality, an otherworldly reality at that. But our path is intrinsically, it's like connected, it's tied to our biggest mission, our brightest opportunities for this expansion, whatever that is. So it's a message to really step fully into our path of fulfillment and happiness. And we have this starlight to absolutely guide us, just allowing our innate essence to really shine through into that residual darkness, like right now, whatever that looks like. So we're uncovering any limiting beliefs or self-doubt that we might be holding on to, and finding the courage to voice any unexpressed emotions, validating them, and just releasing every bit of that outgrown energy that's really anchoring us into the past. So it's time to release. It's time to ascend. It's time, like, as we let it go, we can focus on the future, like right around the corner of a bright, starry future. And then we find our biggest source of inspiration in spirit and love, the essence of it. So the stars really are aligning in our favor, and it really is a call to trust them. Really, it's that time, just expecting the miracles. I know I am. So it's a sign that we are really on the right path. We're healing after all of our traumatic events, whatever they look like, individually and spiritually. So you might have felt like you've lost faith, or maybe your hope has been kind of dissipated or diminished. Disappointment. I always say that there is truly magic on the other side. Holding these front lines to the magic, that's kind of what's being called for. Having faith in the miracles, the pit of despair. Is it a pit? Simply put, ascending out of the pit, pouring love into it, and transforming it all, and just adding a dash of starlight to that pit. It really is the best ingredient. When we finish with the star, right? Just adding more starlight, making it bright in its essence. Ooh, here we go. Then we have the Queen of Pentacles, and she really is the queen. She's just reminding us to really step into our own personal abundance. She's a self-made energy herself. So when we shift any shadows that are really holding on to around wealth and security, it's kind of a message to step in by shifting and knowing that we are safe, we are secure, and just paying attention to our finances in this world or not in this world, and kind of leveling up on our money game, whatever that looks like, giving ourselves permission to really raise above those clouds, elevate ourselves. So it really is a positive message of creature comforts and happiness, and it really is this earthly medicine ushering in life, that we have lived in the material world, in essence, just being in our peace. And it's a time to connect with nature, to find that calmness, our healing, the root of our essence, our power, just harnessing in the abundance that's really available to each and every one of us. Getting rid of that scarcity mindset by bringing groundedness to our situations. Also showing others warm blessings and gratitude through a charitable heart, and even through community, loyalty, and family. Those are all kind of the themes in the village. So our nurturing, down-to-earth approach is also going to give them stability and support those in our lives, in our village, our personal village or extended. But also, we don't want to overextend our energy and avoid enabling others by over-nurturing or over-mothering them on the same way. So, we all need to learn to work on our own aspects, our own selves, bring our own self-worth, our own guidance, our own magical powers, really, about and around the essence of the powerful self-love, the power of love, and just enjoy being who we are, deeply connected to life, leading it with an outpouring of warmth and abundance and gratitude and just love. Generosity from having a grounded heart creates strength within the village, the family, and the community, leaving the door unlocked, really. Being down to earth of all of the things that we could be is to be kind. And again, in that attitude of gratitude, whatever that looks like. And in the elemental realm, we have a yang earth tiger, a wu yin, opposed to the water tiger year that's kind of just on the horizon. So yang earth is in conflict with all that yin earth of the month and the year, the two oxen there. And the yin metal on the stems is scratchy to the yang earth. We're really in some curious times. I really can't say I've watched the local news or any news for that matter. So it's a thing, I suppose. The thread lines, they're dissipating the threads. Let's see here. We don't really need fire to produce more earth. Our day is strong. However, it's these opposing forces, meaning it's chaos in the support. And the performance appears kind of refined, but it also comes at a cost. It's like this unfriendly or an enemy caught in those crossfires. And the tiger right below breaks down the mountain, and it gives it healing found only, that's only found actually in nature, water. And water is actually an element to bring in, giving earth guidance. It did snow here today, just a little bit. So that's like the heavenly comforter of snow, water. So if you're born between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., the tiger is mainly that frequency, that energy. It's concerned with lung issues, asthma, bronchitis, simply having sufficient lung power to breathe, to roar like a lion. That can sometimes be a problem. So it kind of brings in a tendency to be depressed. But ultimately, the quickest remedy for that is actually deep breathing. And the more depressed we get, what happens is the more we have more of a tendency to breathe more shallowly, or upper heart breaths, I guess. So by practicing deep breathing and expanding our breath down to the belly, if you will, we get more oxygen circulating, venous circulation. Among other things, our depression can actually lift. So if you were born in the time of the tiger, you also have sensitivities with the spleen and also the pancreas, the bladder, and the triple warmer, the frequencies of them. I'm talking about energy here. And all of this actually governs the thyroid, weight and metabolism, among other things, as well as the lungs. So because the lungs and the triple warmer, they each have issues with depression. So being born in these two time periods, the 3 a.m. to the 5 a.m., the 9 p.m. to the 11 p.m., it can give both the tigers, the boars, or the pigs, depending what you call them, more challenges, more issues or problems than others, fighting mood changes, whatever that looks like. So as a tiger, you kind of deal with the pride and the life and the death issues and becoming depressed because of the fear of rejection. So even though you have the pride of the tiger, the village of it, inside of us, you might suffer really from feelings of feeling insignificant. You might mope around because of your own personal fear of rejection. And this can kind of jeopardize our relationships in a kind of a hastily kind of way, creating scenarios, if you will, or the scene around perhaps innocent interactions where people perceive you as rejection or you perceive them as being rejected. So there's this possibility that you never really bonded with your mother as a child. So you kind of have this inner rejection kind of complex that stems from the connection that was never truly made, having that connection with your mother, even an ancestor, really. So in doing so, blood problems can occur. Sometimes you can literally reject yourself inside. It's circulation, right? And there can be elements of even having self-hate, as it's somehow, it's your own inner fault. So as a tiger, when you feel rejected, you can kind of head for the cookie jar to make yourself feel better. And when you do fear that rejection, or however you do, your pride can actually get the best of you, and you can decide to kind of control the issue. So it's better to just not put yourself out there again. It's better to put on a few extra pounds, or sometimes more than a few, and shy away from people. You go inward. So you kind of put yourself in a position where you aren't rejected by anyone except maybe yourself. So pride in itself is kind of a tricky emotion if you muse about it. So we need it to develop really our self-esteem, have confidence and self-worth. And yet, as that old saying goes, pride goeth before the fall. It's kind of that frequency. So it's kind of like sensitivity and pride can lead us to create a world for ourselves, our inner selves, that feels safe, safe from sadness, grief, safe from everything, really, unfortunately. Because in insulting ourselves from the bad, we then frequently block out the good as well. Then we can actually have issues of bladder control problems or bladder infections. When we get stuck in this kind of world, then what happens? We feel despair and like, what's the use? What's the purpose? Because we can't move actually beyond it. So down deep inside, we realize that by keeping the bad out, we're also keeping the good out. And then we get depressed. So there's nothing coming in. Our world turns gray. You might feel bogged down. And our metabolism gets sluggish as we slide through the mud or get stuck in the mud. You might have even thyroid problems as well. So really, a healthy tiger needs to be surrounded by people in their village who really recognize their talents and also their worth, who really encourage them to get higher and higher and elevated. They really need to be appreciated and to develop a healthy ego. That pride itself is like an accomplishment. So then they have this justifiable pride in what they do. They need a bond with a healthy female figure. It doesn't matter if you're a male or female tiger either, by the way, but a female essence who could be like a surrogate mother, if you will, and allowing any feelings over bonding issues to let those go. And they need to know it wasn't a personal thing, releasing feelings of not being good enough. They need to stop and really kind of take a beat, a heartbeat, and allow people to reveal themselves to you are, their authentic selves, so they can really create and make accurate decisions on who really is good in their life and actually who isn't. So they really need to love themselves. And seriously, who doesn't need to love themselves more? So we need to let life just kind of play itself out and not throw that monkey wrench into the streams, right? And experience what happens when you don't do that. So as a tiger, you need to walk, exercise, take actions to get out of the doldrums, give life meaning again, you know. And I am a tiger, so it really is a thing. I'm a wood tiger, a different day energy. Kind of excited really for myself for this energy of a water tiger. I might meet my own tiger. Just kidding. Maybe, I don't know. But our mind is online. It's otherworldly. So our thoughts, our inner critic might be critical. With our mind highlighted, with our state of frequency, it's time to move and utilize the energy of the tiger. Maybe roar, go for a walk, go out into nature. Our mind might muddle, our mental acuity or clarity might be grayed out. So any thoughts that you have today that are less than elevated, literally flick them out into those conscious river streams. The only ingredient of higher elevated thoughts are really allowed in, whatever that is for each and every one of us. So if we think the worst, we kind of attract the worst. So I'm thinking of a bathroom remodel with all of the juice. I'm holding that frequency, staying in the flow of receiving it, which if you know me, I am a giver. So the receive is really a situation, learning to just be grateful for the gift, if you will. That's really how I received this hat. I said it out loud on a show, I might add, that I was searching for a new hat, and then it arrived. And here we are. So it's like that. So really take a high vibe position in your thoughts today, elevating that frequency where we have this capacity to attract what our thoughts are. Keeping them juicy, keeping them uplifted. No downers, no nellies. Thoughts and feelings are a thing, right? And energy carries frequencies and waves. Emotions are the waves, and thoughts I see as those energetic hiccups. So when our thoughts and our feelings coagulate and merge, an outcome is what it brings. So what is your high vibration frequency? You know, I've been saying I'm doing great. You're doing great. That's been a memo, a mantra, if you will. So it's like, what is the inner conversation that you're having with yourself? It's the dialogue, you know, inside of us. Is it kind? Is it loving? Are you being peaceful? Are you calm? Are you in your joy state? My virtues, you know, just staying spiritually connected. So it's like, what thoughts do belong in our chamber and what thoughts do not? And thoughts truly become things. Our mind is the tool that often creates these entanglements, these trivial pursuits even, preventing us from believing in ourselves. So it's really time to put the elf on the shelf, maybe have a conversation with it if you're me, and have a belief in ourselves. There's no need to argue, just cleansing our inner sacred garden. I could say the buttercup meditation is really a great one for this. If you're kind of coagulating and having some entangled self-criticism in your thought waves. And our heart really needs to be in alignment with what we believe. Then we feel the juice. We are in a higher frequency to attract that sensation, that vibration. So feel them to be true, spiritual truths. You know, any idea that pops in or downloads creates a new thought line, a new path to kind of navigate that thought, it's like the airwaves simply, it's an understanding of how our negative thoughts affect all of the things, whether it's our health, our relationships, our careers, etc., etc. So when we have a new pathway open, we really have the ability to stream differently or to surf a wave holistically. So really be kind to yourself all days and in all the ways, and stay in the frequency of thoughts that are really self-loving. Yeah, stay in the frequency of self-love, love to self, what do you belong thinking? What do you belong hearing? All that kind of stuff. Now, the essential oil of the day, I love this one. So, not only are we at the age of Aquarius, but it really is a time when things are going to be more progressive, more exciting, more visionary. It's the energy of Aquarius, and it's really kind of starting to flow, if you've noticed. So this is an aspect where, our very private self inside of us, sometimes we're shy, sometimes we're quiet, having just a deep need to have some time alone with ourselves, away from all the things, to restore our own inner creativity, our mental focus, if you will. Being the sign, Aquarius is more of a sign of a deep thinker, that inner genius, really the genies, highly innovative, I would say skilled at solving problems, maybe even becoming bored easily without mental stimulation. A lot of free spiritual energy or free spirit. It reminds me kind of a horse being free to spirit. Usually more pioneering, oftentimes assertive, usually not shying away and sitting by the wayside, sitting and waiting for those opportunities where we feel limited or constrained. You can't catch air, right? Or can you? It's kind of a thing. But Neroli is an essential oil for today. It's this powerful stress easing remedy, especially for the energy of Aquarius and Aquarians. So we all have Aquarius somewhere. This feeling and this frequency, we all have Uranus. We all have an 11th house. So it's where this all kind of cascades and plays out. But Neroli can actually uplift our mind and also our spirit. So it kind of has this meditative quality, and it's actually a perfect match for those mentally caustic orientated people. And I really thought it would just be a good one for the mental clarity today, because we kind of need it on a day like today. So you can find essential oils on my site if you feel called. TanyaD.tv, essential oils. It's kind of at the top of the page, I believe. But with our solar plexus online and this tiger energy and this young earth tiger, nature is really needed along with water. Jupiter and Mercury, double on the Mercury. It's both what's online today, but it's also the energy of water. So it's like the blowing out of a candle. Do that while driving down the road. Just, it's the out breath. Or going out in nature and walking. And the tonality, a chant would be the Ram of the solar plexus. You could also bring in the energy of the crown, the spiritual connection with our inner voice dialogue inside. That's the Ong. And kind of sit with both of those, if you will. You could visualize yellows, lime green yellows, or even orange yellows, if you will, or yellow orange. So that's kind of why I also brought this in. So it's like feelings and thoughts of love, the smells that light up our heart. And Neroli really is, it opens up our olfactory system, keeping our upper thoughts more elevated, even having an attitude of gratitude and bringing in the peace channel. So if you can repeat mantras that uplift your thought chamber today, just even toning a word, one word, whatever that is, when you frequent them or say them out loud, you really feel the shift, the transformation of the words, just elevating you to a new frequency, a new vibration. Simpler, the better, really. And I know sometimes my affirmations are sometimes a little bit long, but for today, I would affirm that my inner view of myself is thought inspiring, and kind of hold that frequency where our thoughts are elevating us into a galactic future that is possibly otherworldly with unlimited potentials. Seeing a future, we really need to bring in nature. We have way too much metal or mineral in the world with all of the things, whether it's 5G, a car, a cell phone, even being online with all the tools. That's all metal mineral frequency. So nature is really called to dissipate those frequencies. The trees, right? That's kind of what they do. So, with all of that, InShalla and Ashe, thanks for tuning in. Blessings to you as always, staying in an attitude of gratitude.